The Home Mortgage Law Show is a paid program and is intended as a resource guide for education, information, and entertainment purposes and is not intended to provide specific legal advice. The information that you hear should not be used as a substitute for competent legal advice from a professional attorney. Hiring of an attorney is an important decision which should not be based on advertising or the information that you hear today.
You're listening to the Home Mortgage Law Show, brought to you by the law firm of Morris, duPont and Regal Tax Advisory Group. Our number is 866-610-NEWS, 866-610-NEWS, AT&T Wireless Customer Star 610. Attorneys Will Morris and Shay duPont. And on the line, Dennis.
And we have Dennis on the line. Dennis has a first mortgage of $230,000, a second mortgage of $25,000. Current market value of the property is $130,000, and he's doing a short sale. His question was, what are the tax implications? How is the lender going to report this? And I was explaining to Dennis that because let's assume that the property is going to sell for the $130,000, that is going to extinguish $130,000 of the first mortgage. So basically, he's going to still have to get forgiven by the lender for the first mortgage, $100,000, and the second mortgage, $25,000. Now, we're not including the kickback that the first is going to give to the second. We're just using this as a very clear example. So, Dennis, the lender on your first is going to issue a 1099 for $100K. Lender on the second mortgage is going to issue you a 1099 for $25,000. Now, is this your primary residence?
Yes.
Okay, so when it's your primary residence, we're hoping that the Mortgage Forgiveness Debt Relief Act will be put back into place. What the Mortgage Forgiveness Debt Relief Act of 2007 said, and this act just expired last December 31st of 2013, it said that if your lender forgives some amount of principal on your primary residence, this doesn't apply to investment properties, but on your primary residence, and the lender, of course, issues you a 1099, the IRS will forgive the tax implications of that. So you will hopefully have that 1099 phantom income forgiven, because we're very hopeful that the Mortgage Forgiveness Debt Relief Act that expired January 1st will actually be re-upped and
applied retroactively.
Right. So actually, the Senate Finance Committee is slated to mark up a bill this coming week that would extend 45 tax provisions, including the Mortgage Forgiveness Debt Relief Act that expired on January 1st. So, fingers crossed that goes through. We probably won't know until December of 2014.
Right.
So we're going to have to keep our fingers crossed for quite a while. But we have high hopes that the Mortgage Forgiveness Debt Relief Act will be extended, because it was always set to expire at the same time that the Making Home Affordable program was set to expire. And that, in June of 2013, was extended through to December 31st of 2015. So all the bills that are looking to extend the Mortgage Forgiveness Debt Relief Act go to coincide with the expiration of the Making Home Affordable. So if that doesn't happen, what's going to happen to you is you're going to get these, and you're going to have to speak with your accountant. Of course, one of our sponsors is Regal Tax Advisory Group. They work with a lot of our clients, including our clients that we have done loss mitigation on investment properties where the Mortgage Forgiveness Debt Relief Act would not apply, and our clients would have major tax implications, except none of them ever have had to pay any tax on that 1099, because instead of the tax implication being on the difference between what the lender forgave, it's actually on the basis of what you what you bought the property for. So the current market value of your property is $130,000, but what was the price that you paid for it?
$117,000.
Okay, so you paid $117,000 for it. So that's the actual tax basis. So it gets complicated. You want to have a
professional.
A professional tax advisor look at this issue for you. They will tell you in December whether or not the Mortgage Debt Forgiveness Act comes into play, or you have to have enough losses to carry forward. These are very important issues for anyone who is doing a short sale or is getting a principal reduction as part of a loan modification, to realize that there are potential tax implications that you have to worry about, because the lender is required to issue you a 1099 when they forgive principal. Remember, you borrowed a certain amount of money. Let's say you borrowed $200,000. You're only returning $100,000. So, of course, the IRS considers you to have made $100,000 on the deal. Of course, you didn't.
Right.
That's not the way you see it, but that's the way the IRS wants to see it.
Well, we'll hope that the law gets reenacted for sure.
Exactly. Our fingers are definitely crossed. A lot of our clients are greatly concerned about the Mortgage Forgiveness Debt Relief Act getting extended, and we'll continue to report on that as time goes on. And thanks for listening to the show.
And you know
Thank
what
you so
time it
much.
is right now?
Sure. Hey, I think it's time.
For the Rocky segment.
Oh, yeah, I know that music. I do know that music. And this is a very special Rocky segment for me. This is a client who actually I have a particular bond with. Why do I feel so bonded to Victoria? I feel bonded to Victoria because Victoria and I were on the CBS Evening News together. Hi, Victoria.
Hey, Shay.
How are you?
Excellent. Thank you. Yourself?
I'm doing great, and you should be excellent because you've gotten a great result. Let's go back, Victoria, and let's talk about how you ended up finding the law firm of Morris DuPont many, many years ago.
Okay. I was going through a bad situation. I was about to go into foreclosure, and a friend of mine had recommended you. I came into your office and explained my situation, and I took you on as my attorney, and it worked out in the end fabulous for me.
Well, you had some problems in that you had come from a dual income household.
Yes.
Both you and your husband were working, and actually, I would say that your husband made more money than you did. And then you had a divorce, and you were left with the responsibility for this house that was a lot of house.
Yes, it was.
And it had a big mortgage on it.
Mm-hmm. We did. It was a terrible experience, a terrible time in my life. My husband's company was failing, and instead of us banding together, we grew apart, and we separated. And I was left basically abandoned with my son and a huge mortgage, and now just living on one income. And
That's a big shock.
It was a huge shock.
Right? You're imagining your life going forward. Here you are as a married couple. You buy this beautiful home. I've been to Victoria's home. She's got a beautiful home on a lake. But gosh, they've got one child. Life is good, and then suddenly the rug is pulled out from underneath her. She's now a single mother, raising a child alone, and with a monthly mortgage payment of $3,387.
Wow.
Right.
Big nut.
Yeah, and that was more than, probably it was more than 50% of your gross monthly income.
Oh, way more.
Yeah. So really not affordable in any way, shape, or form. So in the midst of Victoria retaining us, lo and behold, the CBS Evening News came a-calling. They were someone had heard the show, the Home Mortgage Law Show, and they contacted the law firm of Morris DuPont, and they were doing a story on strategic default. Strategic default was big news back in 2010.
Well, don't be modest here. We started the whole concept.
Well, okay. So whatever, it was big news. So strategic default was big news. That was where a borrower made a conscious decision. Look, I've got all this negative equity on the property. Not going to continue to make the mortgage payments. Maybe get a loan modification, maybe not. I'm going to short sale at the end, but I'm going to get out of this property, and I'll probably stay here as long as I possibly can. So one of the people that Scott Pelley and the group from CBS Evening News interviewed with me was our client, Victoria.
Yes.
And what did you think of that experience?
It was really good. I got to tell my story, and it also helped me get to know you a little bit better outside of the office, and it just reaffirmed my trust in your company.
Well, that's a very sweet thing to say. Thank you very much.
It was really good. It's so scary getting the letters and
That's
people.
I want to go into that. I want you to hold that thought, because unfortunately Natalie's giving me the crazy woman break. You got to break. You got to break. And I'm like, I don't want to break right now. We're right in the middle of this. But Victoria, hold that thought, and we're going to come back.
And here's a treat for you while we go to break. Log on to our Facebook page, The Home Mortgage Law Show. I actually just posted the video with Shay and Victoria on CBS Evening News with Scott Pelley. Take a look. The Home Mortgage Law Show on Facebook. And also pick up the phone and book your free consultation. 800-974-2712. 800-974-2712. Much more of The Home Mortgage Law Show with Victoria right after this. And you're listening to the Home Mortgage Law Show, brought to you by Morris DuPont, PA, and Regal Tax Advisory Group. And we're in the midst of our Rocky segment with Victoria.
That's right. We've got beautiful Victoria on the line with us. Victoria's been, oh my gosh, a client with the law firm of Morris DuPont. Victoria, 4 years?
Yes.
Wow.
It's been 4 years.
4 years.
Yeah.
Wow.
We have long relationships with our clients.
Yeah, we do.
I know. I can't believe it.
So your property eventually had a foreclosure action filed against it, correct?
Correct.
And that was, I believe pretty late in the day. That was in 2010?
Yes.
Okay, so 2010, then you're dealing with the foreclosure department at Morris DuPont. How was that? You dealt with Jennifer, with Will?
I dealt with Jennifer and Will, and they were excellent. Always answer my emails. Return my calls. I mean, when you're, I don't know. I hope nobody can relate to me, because I hope nobody ever went through or goes through what I went through. But when you're in panic mode and survival mode, and you're getting all those emails and calls, you just desperately need to reach out to somebody. And your company was fantastic. I always got an answer within 24 hours.
Well, I'm glad to hear that. That's very good news.
Yeah.
I know that to be true. And tell us then about what you thought the end game was going to be for you. When you looked forward and said, okay, at some point, did you believe that the answer was going to be that you were going to have to exit the property?
I always knew that there was a very good chance that I was going to have to exit the property. I didn't want to, and I told you that from the beginning. My ultimate goal is to save my home.
Right.
And you were like, well, and, we're going to do our best, because, we had to deal with the mortgage company, but we're going to keep you in as long as we can. We're going to do everything we can for you. And you were very honest. And it worked out fantastic, because even though we were offered some deal, and I kept asking you, Shay, what do you think? And you were like, well, has your goal changed? And I was like, no, I still want to stay in my home. And you did it.
So let's talk a little bit about how we got to where we got to today. Your lender was Fannie Mae, so it's a Fannie Mae loan, and the servicer was Ocwen. And if anybody out there knows, I really like Ocwen. When the lender is Ocwen, I really feel like they're giving our clients a very fair shake. They're good at going through loan modification applications that are a little bit complicated and understanding them. They look at our letters of explanation that explain any little idiosyncrasies in a loan mod application. So if you have a complicated income structure, Ocwen is the lender you want to have reviewing it. But we had Ocwen as the servicer. It was a Fannie Mae loan. The property was foreclosed on in 2010, but we didn't actually submit a loan modification to get this property back in paying mode until late 2013. Why? Because we were at the end of a foreclosure. Will's department had been able to defend the foreclosure for 3 years, more than 3 years, and there was a sale date coming up on December 17th of 2013. So we submitted a loan modification application on October 14th.
Got the sale date extended because of the application, right?
Yep. We actually attended a conciliation conference on October 28th. Now, that really wasn't much of anything, was it, Victoria? You and I were both in attendance at the conciliation conference.
Correct.
And that was just basically a paper shuffle. We were able to get Victoria's husband to sign a quitclaim deed, and we recorded that quitclaim deed in November from her ex-husband so that Victoria could be the only person on the title, which allowed her to get a loan modification in her name alone. And lo and behold, we were able to get a loan modification for Victoria, and it was a great result. Well, I think it is. Victoria, are you happy with the result?
I'm head over heels.
Yay!
Great.
So let's go through some numbers.
Let's go through the old numbers and then give me the new numbers, and then I'll do the math and figure out what the savings are.
Oh, boy. Okay, here we go. The old mortgage was $3,387, and the interest rate was 5.37. Not a bad interest rate, but certainly wasn't good enough to keep Victoria in there because it was much more than she could afford. The term of the mortgage was 30 years, and the principal balance was $562,869.
Huge mortgage,
resulting in a huge payment. She was paying over $3,387 a month. The new mortgage that we were able to obtain for Victoria, remember this is a Fannie Mae loan,
right,
was $2,937, which is a reduction of $450 a month.
Okay.
The interest rate is the best that Fannie could get, which is 4.5%. The loan was extended out to 40 years from 30 years. That helps get the payment lowered. And Ocwen / Fannie Mae agreed to what we were just talking to with a previous caller, a deferment.
The next best thing to a principal reduction.
Yes, they deferred $160,000 of the $562,000.
Nice.
So they deferred 28% of the principal balance of her mortgage, leaving her with an interest-bearing balance of $402,000. So, Leo, this is of interest to you because this is the way that we were thinking maybe we would be able to get Fannie to restructure your loan. So this is what they did with Victoria's loan. So she's got a property value of $546,000.
Whoa.
I know, this is a nice house. Believe me, I've been there. It's a very nice house. So she's got a property value of $546,000, but her interest-bearing balance is only $402,000.
Right.
Really a nice difference.
Not bad at all.
And these are some numbers I'll bet you Victoria didn't even know. If you think of the savings for Victoria, she's saving $450 a month. Victoria, that's $5,400 a year.
Wow.
And over 40 years?
$216,000 is what we're saving.
Wow.
That's a huge number. Wow.
That's
a whole new house.
You know, but scratch all of that. Scratch all of it. What I think is really important for Victoria, number one.
What about the 3 years?
Yeah, a really tough stage of your life. Even though you had great counsel representing you, I know it was still stressful, dear.
Oh, yeah.
It's not easy. People can't think that anybody enjoys defaulting on their mortgage payment. It's stressful.
No, it was. And when I was trying to do the loan modification directly with the bank as well, I was denied, and it was just very stressful, and I know a lot of people just said just downsize, but it was the home that I was raising my son in, and I just felt like I just needed to hold on to my home, Yeah. And
now you've gone through probably one of the worst stages. The divorce is over. Things have leveled out. You're in a wonderful relationship with a wonderful man. You've got, your son has been able to stay in the house. And, your job is great. And you're now really able to afford this new payment. So kudos to you. I'm so happy to have known you through this whole sort of arc of your life.
Right.
And you've done everything with dignity and grace. And I congratulate you on so many different levels. You're just a wonderful woman, and I'm really, really happy for you.
Thank you so much. Thank you. I am too. it's definitely been a crazy ride.
Well, we're happy to have gone through it with you. We're going to take a break, and when we come back, we're going to talk to other people and see how we can help them. Victoria, thanks for joining us.
Thank you for calling in.
Appreciate it.
1-800-974-2712. That's the toll-free number that Victoria used and that you need to pick up and dial right now. 800-974-2712. More calls here on the Home Mortgage Law Show right after this. And you're listening to the Home Mortgage Law Show, brought to you by the law firm of Morris DuPont. Attorneys Will Morris and Shay DuPont taking your calls right now. 866-610-NEWS, 866-610-6397. AT&T Wireless customers, star 610.
So we were talking to Victoria. She was our Rocky segment today. She's a client of the law firm of Morris DuPont. And we actually had George call in earlier and Dennis call in. So it was very nice to talk to the clients on the air today. We greatly appreciate it. We appreciate them listening. Victoria has been a client, can you imagine, for 4 years? Yeah, she came in. She had defaulted. She knew she was in trouble. She knew the lender was going to file a foreclosure action. We were able to keep her in her home. And 2 months before the sale date, we filed a loan modification
and got her one.
And
awesome.
got her a great loan modification.
This is like the second Rocky. This is like the second Rocky segment in a couple of months that the person who came in doing a strategic default was ultimately able to save the house even after sitting there for years without paying.
Yep.
Yeah, it's great.
Not that I recommend it, because remember, folks, the longer you go without making a mortgage payment, the less likely it is you're going to qualify for loan modification, because the principal balance is going up, up, up every month. So your ability to qualify is going down, because at some point the lender's not going to be able to create an affordable payment for you, because they can only take the interest rate down, at least on a Fannie or a Freddie loan, to 4.5%. For a HAMP loan modification, they can take the interest rate down to 2%. But, in order to create an affordable payment, which is defined as 31% of your gross monthly income. In order to afford that, to create that affordable payment, they can only go down to 2%, extend the loan out to 40 years, and they won't reduce principal lower than the current market value of your property. They're not going to hand you equity in your property. But in Victoria's case, Fannie Mae was able to create an affordable payment because, for one thing, they deferred some amount of the principal. That's what Fannie will do. They deferred it, put it off in non-interest bearing on the side. And they, even at 4.5%, were able to create an affordable payment, because over that 4 years, Victoria's financial situation had changed. She's in a committed relationship. She has someone that is contributing to the household income, so she's able to show more income. Because even if you're not, if the person isn't on the note, if they're a part of the household and they're contributing some of their money to the household, you are able to include all or a percentage of that income to show household income. That would include your partner, your life partner living in the house with you. That would include a tenant living in the house with you. That would include one of your children that's contributing, one of your parents that's on Social Security that's living there with you, and they're contributing. So it's household income. The note holder's income is necessary. For the other person's, it's a percentage if you want. So those things can get rather tricky, but you don't need to worry about that.
Let us worry about it.
Let us worry about it, Will. We'll do the calculations. We'll put together that loan modification application for you. What I say in calculations, what I say in consultations is, look, you might find someone that can do a loan modification application, a short sale application, as well as Morris DuPont. But nobody does it better.
Nice.
Let's go to the phones.
Nice.
Let's. John, welcome to the show.
Hi, John. Hi, John. What can we do for you today?
Yes, I have a place that's homesteaded in.
Okay, is it your primary residence? Because that's really the definition we're looking for. Homestead, we don't care so much about. Is it your primary residence? Are you living there?
Yes, it's my primary residence.
Okay, great.
Yeah, and I guess a creditor put a levy on my place, and I don't believe that they could take it, because this is not one of the ways that they could take it for if this is your primary residence, if you're homesteaded in.
Right. So if it's your homestead, creditors can certainly put a lien on the property, so that if you go to sell the property, these liens would have to be satisfied. But they can't begin a foreclosure process on the property, because your homestead is protected.
Right, and this is where I need help. I had one of those, like a lawsuit, I guess it is, and I was wondering, like, if I get any help with that.
What kind of a lawsuit?
Levy.
Okay, so you had what was this? Credit card judgments? What was it?
No, it was like a foreclosure on another place, and then trying to make it hold the difference from what they sold in
Okay, so you did you had a foreclosure on another property, let that property go, and the price that the property sold for was not enough to satisfy the mortgage on the other property. So the lien holder went around and sued you for an equitable, for the deficiency amount. You didn't fight that lawsuit either, so they got a judgment against you, and that judgment became a lien.
Right.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, now it's a levy. It was a lien, but now they're trying to do something like a levy. And I was just wondering, that's not right. If I can,
it seems to me, they've put a lien on the house, and it seems to me because it's homestead property, they won't be able to enforce that lien because they're not the primary lender on that house.
Are they trying to do something against other assets of yours or your income stream?
Well, yeah, I guess they were trying to put like
a garnishment.
But now they're just going straight for the property because that's what the lawsuit says. So, I
don't know. I don't think I'd like to see that lawsuit. I don't think they can enforce a lien against a property. They can't. Of
course not.
They can't do that.
No.
Right. That's what I'm saying. I'm kind of worried because that's what. So I was just wondering, like, if anybody can help. I mean, because it's not right. Because I read about homestead. There's only 4 ways they can enforce it. Like, if somebody does work on your house, or like if you had a
mechanics lien,
or the IRS, or something like that.
Well, good for you. The issue for you is, that you have to raise these defenses.
Absolutely.
They don't just automatically pop up. They're not going to be arguing that this is a homestead, so therefore they can't go against you and foreclose on this property as part of the equitable claim.
I bet you what they're doing.
You have to raise this issue.
I bet you what they're doing, they're saying that the other house that they sold was the homestead, and this is just an investment property, so therefore they can foreclose against this property with a lien.
Who knows?
I bet you that's what they're trying to do.
Yeah?
Yeah.
So, Joe, you definitely need some help.
Give us a call at the office.
I could call you guys, maybe Will Morris there, or I don't know.
That's the guy. That's the guy you need to talk to. It would be that Will Morris character.
Yeah, Will. Yeah, sure. The office number is 800-974 2712. What part of town are you in?
I'm in Miami.
Okay, so come see Will at the Doral office. Call the office. There's people in the office right now that can take the call. Call the office and schedule an appointment with Will. Bring your paperwork in, and he'll take a look, and he'll tell you what he thinks.
All right, that'll be great. I appreciate that.
All right, sorry you're going through all this, but we'll try and get it all straightened out for you.
Have a good weekend.
All right, you too.
You too. Sounds a little screwy, Shay.
Yeah, it does. Something, sometimes it's just hard to explain because there's so much legal gobbledygook in some of this that although I love the research he did on how, the homestead, there's only 4 ways that they, so
let me educate you lawyers.
Yeah.
Hi, Serge. Welcome to the show.
Enough. Hey, I don't know I don't know the 4 ways. I couldn't recite them right now, and he could, so kudos to him.
Hi, Serge. Welcome to the show.
Hi, Serge.
Yes, great show, by the way.
Oh,
thank you.
Thanks so much. Thanks for listening. What can we do for you?
I have a question. Actually, I have 2 questions. Number one is you mentioned IndyMac. You mentioned One West a little while ago, and the settlement of $2.2 billion. My question is, does that include IndyMac? Because I don't see that anywhere. After you said it, I looked it up, and I couldn't find IndyMac included among the settlement. Is IndyMac a separate lawsuit?
Well, I actually wasn't talking about One West. I was actually talking about Ocwen, OCWEN. I wasn't talking about One West.
No, I know, but since One West was purchased by Ocwen, I was trying to find out if it was part of the same lawsuit.
Oh, that's a good question. I know that with the Ocwen settlement included Litton, Litton, but I would have to look it up to see whether or not the Ocwen settlement also included One West. So are you currently with Ocwen?
Yes.
And your loan was previously with One West, i.e. IndyMac?
It was previously with One West IndyMac, correct?
Okay. So have you contacted Ocwen and asked them if you qualify for their national mortgage settlement?
No. And let me tell you my situation real quick. I did a modification with them that was approved in January.
January of 2014?
January 2014. They actually sent me the approval on January 10th, 2014, with the payment retroactive to the 1st, which I've been paying, and it's okay. But I wanted to know if that would affect me one way or the other. I'm not too happy with the modification. I can make the payment, but it's not what I was looking for. So I don't know if it's something that, even though it was just recently approved, I should talk to your office anyway.
Do you have negative equity on your property?
No, there's no equity. What they actually did is that they took the amount of money that was owed, which in the time that the payment was not made. They put it at the back end of the loan, and then they left everything else the same. So I have a balloon payment at the end of my 40 years, which is...
it's starting to sound like you've got a Fannie or a Freddie loan. We've got to take a break, but when we come back, I'm going to give you some information you're going to want to write down.
And you're listening to the Home Mortgage Law Show, 800-974-2712. Toll-free number for a free consultation, 800-974-2712. We'll wrap things up here on the Home Mortgage Law Show right after this. You're listening to the Home Mortgage Law Show, brought to you by the law firm of Morris duPont. We are taking the last couple calls here. We just have a few more minutes, and on the phone we already have Serge. Welcome, Serge.
Hello.
Hey, so we're talking to Serge. He is in a loan modification. So let's talk about your loan mod that you got from Ocwen in January of 2014. You're saying that there was no principal reduction, but there was a balloon payment, which to me, I interpret as there was a principal deferment. They put some amount of the principal off on the side, correct?
That's correct.
Okay, so that normally happens when it is a Fannie Mae or a Freddie Mac loan, because Fannie or Freddie do not allow for principal reduction. So your loan couldn't even get a principal reduction. So this is the website to check to see if you've got a Fannie or Freddie loan, if you don't already know the answer to that.
I actually know it's a Fannie Mae loan.
All right, so that's why you couldn't qualify as part of Ocwen's national mortgage settlement for a full actual principal forgiveness. You could only get the deferral because it's actually a Fannie Mae loan.
Okay, so that's the best I can do, right?
That's probably the best you're going to do, especially since they did defer some amount of the principal balance. That's probably the best you're going to do. So you got a loan modification. It's not as good as you might have liked, but it's probably the best you're going to do.
Okay, well, I appreciate your help.
Sure, Serge. Thanks for listening to the show. We appreciate it.
Hi, Danny. Welcome to the show.
Hi, Danny.
Hi, how are you?
Great, thanks. What can we do for you today?
Well, I was just calling because I want to thank you for everything that you guys do. I don't have a problem. I just wanted to tell you guys that I hear you every week or weekend, and I enjoy your show, and I want to thank you for everything that you do.
Danny, that is super sweet. Thank you so much. I get a little teary-eyed when people say things
like that.
I almost said, Danny, why is it that you're available to listen to the show every weekend?
Well, when I'm working, I work for a local law enforcement agency. So when I'm not working or whatever, I just listen to you and I enjoy it, and it's great. And you guys do wonderful things for everybody. So I think that you should. I know you guys know, but when somebody calls and tells you, I know it feels good that people hear what you guys do.
Well, thank you for protecting us.
We appreciate it. Oh my goodness.
And Danny, honestly, I came in today and I was talking to Natalie, and I was like, Natalie, I'm feeling a little burnout. It's been 5 years. I just got married last 2 weekends ago. And I'm like, I'm feeling a little burnout doing the show. I don't know how much longer I'm going to go. But, we've had a really good show today. You called in and you said those nice things. Victoria is a client I've known for 4 years, and we got her a great result. We got 2 other clients to call in today and just say super nice things. And, it's shifted me a little bit today. It shifted me. It kind of has re-energized me today.
There's a lot of people that need you, and and so we need you to continue doing the great job that you do on a daily basis.
All right, you twisted your arm enough. We'll do it.
Thank you. Thanks so much, and thanks for listening to the show. It's really nice of you to call.
Care. No problem.
Thank you.
All right.
What a great call.
Oh my gosh, that was really sweet.
Very nice. See
It's
that?
not-
Natalie,
See that?
did you set that up?
Shh, don't say anything. Hi, Claudia. Welcome to the show.
Hi, Claudia.
Yes, good afternoon.
Hi. What can we do for you
By
today?
the way, congratulations on the wedding.
Thank you. Thanks so much. I'm still on cloud 9.
And it really is a great show, without a joke. I mean, I've listened from time to time. I can't listen every weekend like the previous caller, but my question is this. I happen to be upside down.
Okay.
I have a second mortgage on the property, and I did go through a foreclosure and got a modification, which I did myself.
Bravo.
Congratulations.
Thanks. It's not as great as it would have been. Probably you guys would have done much better for me.
Yeah,
But
I don't know. But let's get the numbers. What's the balance of your first mortgage?
the property, I'm going to tell you this. It was 190. We were in foreclosure for a while because I keep fighting it, and eventually, because we weren't paying any, it came to 220. So I didn't get a reduction.
Okay, and what's your second mortgage?
My second mortgage is roughly $40,000.
And what's the current market value of the property?
About 130, 120.
Ah!
Ooh.
So, did you stop paying the second mortgage altogether?
Yes, I did eventually.
Well, good for
Okay.
you.
Have they forgiven the second mortgage?
No, as a matter of fact, the last about 2 months before the modification was accepted, was sent, I got an ability to write it, to pay it off for $3,200. But because I didn't know if I was going to get the settlement for the modification, I did not try to come up and pay it. It's not that money was flush or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
So I said, and afterward, I said to my husband, you know what, probably we should try and send in the money and pay it. But by this time, we use up the money to help pay for the money that they call us and ask us for.
Right.
Right.
And so forth.
Right.
And so after the modification, about a month or two after, probably the top 3 months, they wrote and offering us for us to pay something like $7,000 or $8,000. But within a short period, and of course, if we didn't have the $3,200, we certainly didn't have the $7,000 plus.
Right.
My concern now is if it is possible for me to try and what's the best way to try and see if I could write to them, approach them to get a forgiveness.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So, who's got the second mortgage?
Chase.
Chase has the second mortgage. I'm surprised they haven't written that off already,
me
Claudia.
too.
Right? Well,
Right.
I'd be curious to see on your credit report what they are reporting it as. When's the last time you pulled a credit report, Claudia?
As a matter of fact, the last time I pulled one was sometime in last year. So I'd probably go back and look at it and see.
Yeah, see what Chase is reporting it.
I
And
know.
if it's been more than
know they
12
have told
months,
it.
do it again. For annualcreditreport.com, pull all 3 credit reports and see if Chase is showing that loan is charged off yet. I wouldn't be surprised. Then call Chase and ask them whether your loan qualifies for the National Mortgage Settlement for complete forgiveness.
Yeah.
National Mortgage Settlement, complete forgiveness. So call Chase and ask them that question. If your loan was reviewed to see if it qualified for a complete forgiveness.
Okay, I try to do that.
And why didn't you get a principal reduction on the first mortgage? Is it a Fannie Freddie?
No, I just think that PNC was a PNC.
Huh. Yeah, I got it. That was clever.
That's good.
That was good. I like it. We might steal that line.
Right. That's a good line.
Because a funny thing with my mortgages is from day one, I've been having problem with PNC because even when I had the money to pay to clear it up,
Yeah.
I was asking them sometimes to pay the legal fee from it because I continue paying. I was at the time I finally learned that once you're 30 days over, they could do that or something like that. But I keep paying. And eventually when I went to the bank to pay, there was make a note on my file not to have to. First they stopped me from paying online. I drove it over to the bank and I make the payment. And then they stopped me from making the payment through the bank. And eventually, because I keep saving my payments, so after that I work very hard to save my payment. That when I have my day in court, I would have been able to say to the judge, see, Your Honor, I have my payment.
Right.
I never got my day in court. When I went, they told me that the judge was not seeing anybody that day. A number of other people were there. So I am waiting for my next day in court because that's what they assured me. And when the next thing I heard is that my house was up for sale at the court steps.
Oh, brother. Claudia, I don't like any of this.
All of this sounds very...
But the show is about to end. Call us at the office. Schedule a conference call with me because I want to talk to you.
It's 800-974-2712, Claudia. 1-800-974-2712. You've been listening to the Home Mortgage Law Show. We'll see you next Saturday.